I think I always felt I didn't want to live in Italy. Italian humor is quite different from Czech humor. I never had the chance to really experience Prague life. I started to work in Terezin.
It's Ksuksu, Prague expat stories. All right. Welcome, Raymi, to the sixth episode of Ksuksu podcast.
Thank you very much.
So before we start talking about you in details, like, do you remember your first ever day in Prague?
Yeah, so my first time in Prague was actually a very long time ago. I think it was, oh my God, it was 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago. It was just me and two friends actually. We just didn't went to school. And it was, I think, in around Easter time, but maybe it was March. I think it was cold. And when I came here, it was I had really weird expectations from that, because in school you study Czech Republic, but you don't really study it. So
Yeah.
I was expecting to come here and the world is like stuck 50 years ago with the Soviet stars everywhere. But in the end, it was totally not that way. It was very, very different. It was very more, actually more modern compared to Italy on a lot of aspects. But here I met my husband, and so then the life goes the way that it's supposed to go.
How long did you stay in Prague for that trip?
So we were for 5 days, I think. We stayed at Witkov, in the area around Witkov and Žižkov, somewhere there, which in that time was a really shitty, sorry, a really bad place. Now it's really cool and modern and sophisticated. In that time was very bad place. Like the people there were really bad. But I mean, we didn't care. We were young, we were happy, that we were in Prague, and um, what is now my husband used to work in the city center in a Bageterie Boulevard. And so, because we had a friend, he didn't eat almost anything of the food here. So we were like, okay, so you choose today where to go. I think it was our third day in Prague. And he was like, okay, so let's go to this place. This place looks nice. So as we entered, he was working there, and it was just love at first sight. And so I was like all excited. I was like, oh, this is like a movie. And so I went to him. I ordered my food. I sit down with my friends, and I was like, take the picture. That's the love of my life. The problem was that in that time we still have phones with the SD cards with the really low memory. So all of us had no memory. And after my friend was able to delete like, I don't know, 5 applications, and she was able to take one picture. And yeah, and then I thought, okay, that's it, like that's the end.
Because you didn't talk, like you just wanted to take a picture to keep a souvenir or something.
I don't know, probably, like I was so in love. I was like, oh my God, take a picture, so I can show that I had this flirt, probably. I don't know. I have no idea.
Because how old were you back then?
Oh my God, how old I was? I was 17 to 18.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
teenage-ish, let's say.
And have you ever been in love before that?
No,
Okay.
not really. No. That was like, real love. Like, like, it was weird, yeah.
And so how did that go? Then you followed your trip in Prague with your friends and didn't think about him again?
No, actually, in the evening we came back. We went casually to the same street. I hoped he would be there again, because
Okay.
exactly I was too shy to go at him and say something, and there was a lot of people. My husband he took another shift, more, and so he stayed there till late night. And I passed there and I saw him. So we entered. It was like 9 in the evening, and I ordered a cappuccino, which was
In Bageterie Boulevard?
in Bageterie Boulevard. I mean, I don't judge Bageterie Boulevard cappuccino, but definitely they are famous for their baguettes, not for their cappuccino.
Yes.
Yeah. And in that time, I was even not that good. It was 9 in the evening, so he prepared me this cappuccino. He brought it to me at the table, and my friend was like, "Oh, you see, he brought it to you at the table." And I was like, "But it's normal, They bring it to you at the table. It's not normal."
No.
I discovered that later. And well, after that, I just took back the cup, and he took my hand and he placed something in my hand, and I was like, "Is it another receipt?" And he just smiled. He didn't say anything. Going out, I just opened it, and there was his Facebook and name and last name, because in that time, well, That's how it worked. You just shared. Well, now it's Instagram, but and so I was like all happy, all smiling, 360 degrees. And I just turned at him, and he was looking at me, and I was like, ah. So and that's how it started. And the next day we spent all the day together. In the evening, we went to a club in Prague with my friends. And then at the end of that evening, which was our last day, we walked back to the museum metro station under the statue of Venceslav.
Hmm.
And that's where we kissed for the first time. And when he asked me if he could kiss me, because my English was very excellent in that time, I said, of course, you have to kiss me, So, and that's how it started. And after 2 months, we didn't text anything. And then he just texted me out of nothing, out of the blue. Can I come visit you? And I was like, yeah, sure. So he came to visit my family, and we are together 9 years.
Well, a very eventful first day in Prague. And
Yeah.
is he Czech?
Yeah, he's Czech. Yeah, he's Czech.
Okay, so it's technically one of the first Czech person you knew. Like, I guess
Yeah.
you had some encounters in the shops in your 2-3 days before.
I mean, the first encounter with Czechs was literally the first day we landed, and there we took the metro. And because we didn't saw how they're called, the tourniquets, like the machine,
Yes.
where you obliterated the ticket. My friend, she forgot to do that, So we just passed through, and yeah, my friend got fined 50 euros, I think.
No.
And I was like, why you didn't put the ticket in the machine, So she got fined, and they were really not nice, I remember. That was the first Czech people I met.
Oh, okay. So that was your first moments in Prague, but then the trip ended. You went back to Italy, and now you said you've been here 10 years. So at what point did you know you wanted to move back here?
So I think I always felt I didn't want to live in Italy because I'm half Italian and half Peruvian. So in Italy, it's really, there's this, well, there was now not anymore, luckily, but there was this mindset that if your parents are not both of them Italian, then you're not Italian at 100%. So you would always be like left out from everyone. You would be the one different. So I was like, why do I want to live here in a place where I don't feel that I belong, So always I had in mind this idea to live elsewhere, not to live in Italy. That was never my plan, even though it sounds crazy, but it's not really a place where you want to live. It's a place where you want to visit, yeah, but not a place where you want to live. So when I thought that I wanted to study there, and then I met my husband, then of course it was clear to me that I would move there. So during the last year of high school, we had a distant relationship, and we used to visit each other 1 month me, 1 month him, and like this we would do that. Because luckily flights from Milan to Prague were very cheap, so it was really affordable to have this relationship like this. And the day after my graduation, I packed the car, I sat behind the wheel, and I went to Prague by myself. Yeah.
Well, and what about all those flights back and forth during the long distance? Like, even though it was cheap, like, could you pay for it, or did your parents help? Because like you didn't have a job, right?
Yeah. Italy, it's not like here that, like young people work already from 14, 15. In Italy, I even think it's not that legal. You cannot like employ someone who is younger than 18 years old.
Mm.
So my parents paid for that.
Wow.
But for example, he paid for that. He paid by his own.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's something that we have to take to count. Yeah.
Okay, and so yeah, after a long distance, you were like, okay, I'm moving to Prague, taking my car. A probably 10-hour drive, I guess.
Yeah, it's about 10 hours from Milano. So
And then you arrive here and you're like
what
super
now?
excited, maybe, or scared. Did you have any second thoughts?
I mean, in that time was really different than it's nowadays. Like Czech Republic now, it's more open-minded. Now it's in that time it was a bit different. I arrived. I was not even in Prague. Literally, I was in a town right next to Prague, so I could have just taken the public transport and come to Prague. But what would I do? And so we had this very small flat, and I was like, and what now? he had a job. I hadn't. I had no friends. I didn't know the language. I was by my own technically, and it didn't really help that much. Actually, I actually fell in depression because I didn't go nowhere, and if I went somewhere, then I would be judged by how I dress, by how I move my hands, you know. So that wasn't very pleasant, I would say, as a beginning. You felt like an alien, you know, like coming out of a different planet. People would look at you very bad. I don't know. It wasn't very nice. And then, uh, out of nothing, my husband, he helped me put, let's say, everything together. He said, so try to find something, try to do something, what you would like to do. So we sent different CVs everywhere. And that's how I got my first job in Czech Republic and my first job ever. I started to work in Terezin, which is a former concentration camp in the north of Prague, about 40 minutes by car, I would say. And I didn't got the job immediately. I just sent it there, and they called me and they told me, well, thank you very much. At the moment, we are not looking for any new guide. So I was like, okay, don't worry, I will look for something else. So I almost got a job in a hotel for a night receptionist, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna work during the night. It's gonna be horrible. And going out from there, they called me, and I was like, hi, hello, and they were like, yeah, this is Terezin. So um, if you would like now, we have an increase of Italian tourists, and we need someone who can do tours in Italian. So I was like, yeah, sure, count me in. I went there the next day. They did the interview. They were like, okay, we like you. So when you can start, I'm like, whenever you want. Okay, so tomorrow come here and learn the text and learn the history. And so I learned it. I learned not only that history, I learned all the history of Czech Republic and Czechoslovakia and everything, because you have to know everything to have some general knowledge, And that's how I started from it to enter the culture and understand the culture.
Wow. But how did you get the idea to first like apply there?
Because I like history, and
Okay.
and also my husband like history, so he was like, you like history, that's a very important place, and I think it's worth the try.
Okay.
You shouldn't try then.
How many guides are there in Terezin?
Nowadays I have no idea. At one point, I think we were almost 15, 16, so a lot of us. But then with the time, some people changed and went out, went in. So I think on average, we were like 10, 11 guides, something like that for different languages. So,
And so what it's like working over there, like what are some of the pros and cons? Because I guess it's a very heavy job. And
Terezin is a very important place in Czech history, I would say, recent history. Um, Schools usually in Czech Republic do the trip to Terezin because, it's really something that they study during their learning path,
Hmm.
in school. And then also with the thing that Prague is a very beautiful city, but also for 5 days, I think it's too much. So you visit, the first day you visit the city center, the castle. The second day you visit some museums, and already the third day you're like, well, and what now, So exactly, some people discover that there are these trips that you can do outside Prague, and that Czech Republic is a very beautiful country with a lot of beautiful things to visit. And so they started to visit exactly Terezin, and that's why they started to take more people. So
And was it your first time in a concentration camp, or have you visited
yeah,
other
that
ones?
was actually my first time visiting a concentration camp. Well, it wasn't really a concentration camp. It was divided in two parts: a Gestapo prison, which was sort of a concentration camp vibe, let's say. And then you had the big fortress, because it's a fortress from Austro-Hungarian times. So you have the big part, the big fortress, which was a Jewish ghetto, so a transit camp. So let's say that still it was the thing that was the most near to a concentration camp that I was experienced till that moment. So it was weird in the beginning because well, you just think about all what happened there, but your job there is to speak for those who cannot speak anymore. So exactly, then you cannot take it as a personal speech, but as a third person speech. So you are speaking for someone else, and that's very nice. I was really proud of the job.
Nice. Super nice story. And so you worked there how long? And you were just driving back and forth, right?
Yeah. So I worked there for 7 years because again, it was really my first job. I was
So how many
19.
tours is that? Like, what?
Oh, that's very, 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 very much. That's a lot of tours. I cannot. I wouldn't. I no. I think in a month I could do in the busy seasons. I would do 110 tours, and every group, big group, might have between 50 people to 60 people, and in some cases even like 100 people. So, and
Wow.
you had no microphone or anything. You would just speak by your voice. So you have to have the attention of all these people. It was very, very harsh, but yeah, and from home was very far because I lived, I live still outside Prague, just in the north of Prague, but there is like 70 kilometers there and 70 kilometers back. So that's a lot of kilometers, and that was very expensive for me. So that's why I had to stop to
Mm.
work there. So,
I think it's common for a lot of people. Like your first job, you're like hang on to it like a lot
yeah.
because you're like, oh, it's like my first opportunity. I don't know. You don't know if there's better elsewhere or
Yeah.
something, so you're scared about changing. But okay, well, 7 years.
That's a long
Yes.
time.
Um, so yeah, you mentioned so that helped you like get out of depression kind of. Then you started to make friends, I guess. Most Czech friends, expats friends.
I mean, my colleagues were my only friends, let's say, like the only people I would speak to. And actually, they were the ones who helped me understand Czech culture and integrate. Because I would say there are two types of things that you can do when you move elsewhere. Either you become part of it, and or you will remain always the like the emarginated one. And I spent all my life being emarginated, so I wanted to feel part of something. So they helped me. They teach me a lot of words and figure of speech, in Czech, which are very hard to understand, and they would explain it to me. So it took some time to get into that. I mean, 7 years, it was a long time to get
Yes.
into that. But yeah, they were nice because still they spoke in English with me. And with the time, they forced me, not they forced me, but they automatic, it went somehow automatically that we would switch from English to Czech in between these 7 years. It was a long way, and at the end of the 7 years, I spoke somehow Czech, and I was very happy.
And what do you think learning a language teach you about the culture? Like, is it important to understand the culture?
Yeah. I would say in general, every language, it's the culture, because it's the base of everything. You want to communicate just at the I don't know, at the supermarket. To say to the lady to slow down because she's throwing food at you, and you're like, "Can you please slow down? I'm not able to put all the food inside." Or like it's just for simple living. I think that's important. And Czech culture is quite complicated. I mean, what culture is not?
Mm.
But the language is as much complicated as the as the culture, I would say. So it takes some time to understand the culture if you don't really learn the language. So the humor, for example, humor is very hard to understand the Czech humor.
How did you like keep motivated to like learn Czech?
I mean, everyone has these ups and downs because I think it's normal. Because you think that you finally reach a certain level, that you can finally, and then you discover there are a lot of million things. And me as well, like till this day, I have no idea how to communicate in the correct way for a lot of things
Mm.
because it's just so different, so very. So it's very hard.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, Czech humor. Okay, let's start with how's Italian humor compared to Czech one. Did
Mm-hmm.
you Is there some similarities, some differences?
I mean, Italian humor is quite different from Czech humor, even though I realize now that there is one movie that is Italian and is also famous in Czech Republic. And in general, I would say in the Eastern Bloc, what used to be the Eastern Bloc, and it's Fantozzi, engineer Fantozzi, I don't know, and is this stereotypical Italian unlucky man, which is he's like the workers, like the poor worker with the ugly wife, with the ugly daughter, with the ugly house and an ugly car, and
That sounds
exactly,
fun. I want to watch.
and it's he's just so unlucky, and exactly it's part it became popular here because he exactly represent, the the stereotypical Czech person as well. Like during communism, he was a typical he would, so yeah. I mean it's he's famous also here. So some things definitely are in common in the humor, but they're very, very different. I mean, Czechs are famous to have this black humor, very dark,
Yes.
very dark, very bad. And sometimes it's not even funny if you listen to that as a foreigner, because
Yeah.
it's just very bad. Like very bad in a way that is aggressive. But once you get the humor, once you get the logic of that, then it's funny, unfortunately.
Yeah, I heard a similar story recently. Like my friend, she's French, her partner is Czech, and they had like a family Sunday lunch with the Czech family, and yeah, like they were like making some jokes and everything, and she wasn't laughing because she thought it wasn't funny, but they were like, "Oh, you don't speak Czech well enough, like to understand our jokes," and she
Uh,
was like, "I understand the jokes, I don't find it funny," and so yeah.
yeah, I think she has to watch a lot of movies. No, I mean, movies help
Yeah.
definitely, like, because it helps you to understand for what you should loud for, because there are moments in which you really understand why it's funny. Yeah. So, for example, there is this saga of old Czech movies called the Slunce Seno and something else I don't remember. A Yehudi, for example, I think there are three movies, and exactly you can see is like this stereotypical again. They joke a lot about this their stereotypicalities. So exactly the stereotypical family with a big wife, a fat husband, and which is lazy. He just drink beer from morning till afternoon. He
Mhm.
doesn't do anything. And yeah, they live in this small village in the countryside in South Bohemia, and then come this guy from the city. It's like it's just all together. It really makes sense. But again, to understand that you have to learn the history, and then you get why it's funny because it just so depressing that it's funny.
Okay. No, that's a
Yeah,
good
maybe
book.
that's the thing. It's so depressing, the situation all over that becomes ironical,
Hmm.
becomes extremely. It's like, of course, extreme. So.
So would you say now you're like 25% Italian, 25% Peruvian, and 50% Czech? Like
Ah,
what traits of Czechs did you get?
I would say I don't have almost any traits as Peruvian because I didn't really live there. Um, but I would say that I feel more like 50-50, like 50% Italian and 50% Czech. Yeah, probably I would describe that myself as that way. Because still I have some Italian traits. When I just try to be out of the Czech world, then I just try to be myself. But still I feel that I changed a lot compared to who I was before moving here.
Sorry, can you repeat that again? When you're out of where you try to be
When I'm
yourself?
when I'm out of the Czechs, let's say, when I'm out of the Czechs, like I'm at home in the garden, then I'm just being like myself. Yeah, like not my Czech self,
Wow. Okay.
because I know,
Yeah,
because
no,
I
I guess yeah, we do have different personalities
yeah,
depending the language we're speaking.
yeah,
Like I'm not the same person in French or in English.
yeah, my point. Yeah,
In Czech, don't tell me about it. I'm the one in Czech.
you still have to find it out.
Yes.
Still have to build it. I mean, but that's the point, because I was on the tram now, and I was just sitting, and someone started to talk next to me, and I just turned, very pissed off that he was talking or she hadn't remember. So I just look at her with my sunglasses, and then I just turned to myself and I was like just shaking the head, and I was like, this is very Czech, you know. This is some oh sorry, this is something that Czechs would do, you know, like just shake their head or like I don't know.
It happened this morning too. I was in the tram and there was just a lady that stood up to go out to the next station, but we were like still away from the station. So there's a guy looking at her like, take your time. We're not there yet. Like, you're not going to walk in front of me because
Yeah,
we're not there yet. And he was
yeah,
like annoyed.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. No, but yeah, I get it. Exactly that's why I'm saying that there is like like the person that you like the Czech personality. It's really like real. And then I'm home and I try less Czech personality.
okay.
I try to mix it more.
Nice. Is your husband funny? Like, is he Czech funny?
He Czech funny events? I mean, sort of. He's not that humorous person. He tries to make these very clever jokes, but not everyone gets them. So that's the issue, I would say. For me, he's funny, but he might not be funny for everyone.
Looking back, like, would you do anything differently about how you moved here, how
Hmm,
you stayed, who you met, where you worked?
probably. I mean, yes and no. So definitely, I would. I'm really happy for the choices of life that I made till now. Where I live, with who I live, and our son, and blah blah blah. But definitely, I never had the chance to really experience Prague life. So maybe that's the thing that I missed. Maybe that's the only thing that I regret, that I never lived in Prague. And tried to just share the flat, for example, live the moment. I don't know, go around. I don't know. Maybe that's the thing that I missed.
Makes sense.
But I'm doing that now, so I'm
Yeah,
saying that a little bit
maybe when the kid is also like independent and
older.
then you can come
Yeah.
like live your.
No, I mean, I luckily now have some friends, so I use them as sleepovers, so they can exactly live the Czech life. So I can, arrive by train, because I arrive always by train with these old diesel trains from 1960s. Very, it's very, how you say it, scenic.
Yes,
You
yes,
know,
yes.
so I arrive with my stuff, and I just enjoy Prague, So I go around, we go to parks, we play in the parks, we take a drink at Naplavka, So that's my favorite spot. So
Never gets old, yeah. Is there any other foreigners in your area? Or because I actually do see some foreigners on social media that
hmm
start sharing their life in the Czech countryside and they're so happy they left Prague
yeah.
and they're living just the quiet countryside life.
hmm
So
So I mean, in Italy, I was born in Milan, but I always grew up just right outside Milan, so in the countryside. So I was never like a city person, cause too much noise, too many lights. I need my peace and calm. And if I want chaos, I just take the car or tram or metro or whatever, and you just go to the city. And I really like it, cause we live on an island.
you live on an
On an
island?
island, yeah,
Wow.
because the river was the course of the river used to go around, but during the Austro-Hungarian times they made it straight, so it remained as an island. So
Wow.
we live on an island technically,
That's super cool.
which is funny because in Czech Republic you don't have sea. So I
Yeah.
live in an island in a country where there is no sea. But okay, and it's we bought this house 6 years ago already. That's a very long time. 2018, like something like that. And it's in an area of small houses. They are usually like summer houses for people who lives in Prague. But because housing became unaffordable, so everyone moves to this type of houses because
Mhm.
they are for living in the end. You don't need a very huge big house to be happy. It's enough to have a small house. So we have this small house, like Scandinavian style.
Nice.
And we have the garden, and so it's very different. And the life in a village, it's a different thing than the big city. I mean, Czech Republic itself is a big village,
Yes.
yeah, But when you live in the village, then it's the village inside the village, you know.
I
So everybody knows everyone, and yeah, it's just different, you know. Just hit differently.
Yeah, because there's different, because like Prague can become overwhelming. Can it actually? It never felt overwhelming to me, but I guess like coming from countryside, if you come to Prague, then you feel like it's a little bit too much.
Mm,
But
yeah,
also living in a village where you know everyone is like, oh, can I escape anywhere now?
yeah, yeah. Maybe that's the thing. Like, it's nice to be in the village to take your time, relax, unplug from civilization, let's say, because you don't even though you meet the people at the supermarket in the countryside in the village, still it's different because people start to speak with each other, and they start to speak with the cashier. So it's very more friendly environment because there is this sense of community. At the same time, Prague, I wouldn't say exactly that it's overwhelming as you're saying, because compared to Milan, it's very, very chaotic, Milan. And here is everything is quite the human size, you know, like
Yes.
quite good for living. But yeah, the countryside is just, you know, you're just too lonely sometimes. So you really want to have chaos nearby you. So yeah, that's why everyone who is in my village works, almost all of them in Prague,
Okay.
because then you feel really cut out of the world,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, this is the ideal situation, like living 20 minutes away
Yeah,
from Prague. Um, yeah, sometimes you're even closer to your job than if you would live on the other side of Prague.
yeah, definitely.
And it's super nice. Like, yeah, I guess if you go in the north, like it's next to the river, the
Yeah,
train
yeah,
ride,
yeah, yeah.
right?
There is the Vltava, and then there is the Elbe rivers, and I'm on the Elbe river before the connection where they meet.
Nice. Actually,
Because
sometimes I'm thinking, because there's no way I can buy something in Prague. Like, it's just,
yeah,
sometimes I look at the offers and it's like, you need at least 10 millions. And for 10 millions, you still get shitty things. Like,
yeah,
or maybe I don't know where to look, but it's like, no, I'm not interested. So I started looking outside of Prague, but I don't know if that lifestyle would fit me, to be honest. And
hmm,
few times I joked with friends that I should move to like a tiny city for like a year or two to save money, because right now in Prague it's impossible for me to save money
yeah,
because I just can't say no to any fun activities or
of
anything.
course.
So I'm like, okay, let me go hide in like Hradec for like a year and come back and have more money here. But yeah, buying something here.
It's very hard and very expensive.
Yes,
So
yes, yes. But I'm glad it worked out for you. Like that sounds
yeah,
cute.
thank you.
Um, I want to come back on the reactions of your family and friends when you told them like, "Hey, I'm
Mm,
leaving."
yeah,
But you were 18, so you were technically allowed to like.
I mean, I could have done whatever I wanted, yeah, but
Yes.
still, I needed my family's money to
Hmm.
start, you know, so elsewhere. So, I mean, I had some money aside from birthdays, you know, and stuff, but I took some of them because, well, you have to start somewhere. But yeah, the reaction was, um, I mean, they were happy for me. I wouldn't say that they were happy
Yeah. Okay. That's
because
very clear.
I was leaving, you know, so definitely for them was hard in the beginning. But this is something that I learned, and I was told that when you leave, you don't feel like it's that big of a problem. It doesn't hurt you, so you just leave. But then becomes a problem time. You realize that you left everything and blah blah blah. And people who you leave like behind, that people suffer in the beginning, and then they just let it be very fast. And it's true because I lost a lot of friends that I had back in Italy because logically it wasn't easy to accept. Not everyone was able to accept it, and also because I cut everyone else out in my first months in Czech Republic because I was in depression. So I didn't want to talk to everyone or anyone. So I was like cutting out connections. That's not good.
Yeah, you lost more friends the first year in Prague than the following ones, right? And some of them were like intentional, or most of it was like just.
It was just the way how we need to go, like you move on.
Yeah.
And I never had that many friends. I don't mean that I like lost hundreds of friends. I wasn't that popular. I had really like 3 friends. Maybe that's why it hurted more.
Hmm.
Because if you don't have that many friends and you lost your only few friends that you have, and it's quite sad. So
Yeah, for all of your life. Like you knew them for like most of
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
lives.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I never thought I would leave them. I never thought to be away from them. So it was not easy. No, it was not easy.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you moved here very young and like yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like you have more to live than what you lived in Italy. So it's like
Yeah,
there's just so many things waiting for you and friends waiting for you and
yeah,
like just fun thing. But it's hard to like focus on this when you're just like struggling with the moving and everything.
yeah,
Um, okay, and today your family visit.
yeah. My family visits. I mean, my mother visits. She actually has a small house in the garden, like guest house. And so in summer, she spends always like a month in August with us. So she can take care also of our son, because I mean, there is no school in summer.
Yes.
And yeah, so she visits very often. My grandma came here 4 times, I think, or 3 times. My grandma is 93, so for her was a lot to fly, and
Nice.
so that was nice. And yeah, I mean, my friends visit only once in a while, usually New Year's. We do that, like we spend New Year's together. So sometimes I'm going there, but sometimes they are here to celebrate it with us. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, same. Like the first 2, 3 years I was here, like I would have friends. Like I don't know, every 2, 3 months, someone come visits
Yeah.
because it's their first time in Prague. Like um, my best friend lives in Dublin, so we're trying to visit each other.
Oh, that's nice.
But uh, I actually like the first 3 times she came in Prague, she was like, I'm coming because you're here, but I don't like Prague so much. And I was like, what do you mean you don't like
Oh
Prague? Like,
no.
and then after the first time she came, she was like, okay, I'm starting to see like why you like it.
Yeah.
My brother came maybe like 2 or 3 times, and now he's like, I've seen everything. I don't need to come back. I was like, what do you mean? You have seen nothing.
You have seen Prague. There is
Yes.
Czech Republic yet to
Yeah, but
discover.
even in Prague, I haven't seen everything myself. So I'm like,
Okay.
how can you?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, there are always some places that you discover, some streets, some places. It's true.
Man, you know? Um, cool. Um, I want to talk about a bit what you do on social media because you became like I don't know if we can say Pedro Pascal or Sofia Vergara, like becoming kind of famous outside from your home country. Let's
Yeah.
say, even though if you're 50% Czech now, but how did that happen? Like, is that something you wanted? Did that happen like from nowhere?
It's not that I never wanted this to become big. I mean, there was never the expectation, let's say. Yeah, I had my first experience with this. It was exactly when I moved to Czech Republic the first year, because there were foreigners, but there weren't that many foreigners yet. And there was, I think, only one girl. She's American, and her husband is Czech. And she started to make these videos of like US life compared to Czech life, and it was interesting. So I was on YouTube, so I was like, okay, that's cool. I can do that. It's not, I'm in a home. I have nothing to do. I could maybe make money from that. So I made 2 episodes. Somewhere I must have it. I don't know where they are. Maybe I should publish it again. Just to.
Yeah.
And my mother saw them, and she was like, "Raymi, take it out. It's just bad." They were not bad, but she didn't felt that they were good for my image. I don't know. I don't know how to explain. Usually my mother is very supportive, but she really didn't approve this project. So I canceled it. I removed it. And then yeah, that the other girl, she became very famous, and I did not. But that's not the story. Then during COVID, I used to take care of the brother and sister of my husband, which in that time they were 13 12 and 13, I think. And TikTok started to explode, during COVID. And it was 2021, I think. And so I was taking care of them because schools, they were closed. I was just looking at television, and he just scrolled nonstop the screen and I was like, what are you doing? Like an old person, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just looking at TikTok, but I'm like, but you're not looking, you're just passing through very fast. Oh, I just stop when I see something nice. And I was like, but what it gives you, It's fun, it's interesting. I'll show you. And he took my phone, he downloaded me TikTok on my phone. And I was like just looking at that like an old person. I was like scrolling that very slow. I'm like, now what? It didn't really catch me in the beginning. I was like, and that's it. That's all that what it's gonna give me. So what can I do with this? So I made a video. I had like 50 views, something like that. Had nothing to do with what I do now. And then I was like, okay, maybe I think that I can do something else on this platform. Maybe I can start to share my daily problems. So I was like having struggles with the cars. I made a video about the car having problems, and it already like had like 200 views. Something like that. I'm like, wow, 200 views. That's a lot of views. And then I was like, maybe I can even do a step further and do something about Czech Republic. Me living in Czech Republic, how many people do that? There was nobody in that time who did that on TikTok. So I was like, so I'll be the first one, I'll go for that. So I published a video about Czechs or foreigners mispronouncing Czechoslovakia and Czechia, because also in that time there was this thing of Czechia becoming the new name of Czech Republic, and not that many people liked it. Still not many people like it. And so I made a video about it. And out of nothing, it just had, I don't know, like 100,000 views. And it continued, boom, 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 and it just went through and a lot of comments and good and bad, but I didn't care, it was just exploding. And I was like, that's interesting. Now I understand how it works. So I started to do this type of videos. And now we're here.
So yeah, so now that's like 4 or 5 years that you do videos like very regularly.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
And you're not getting bored of it. You're just like finding new stuff.
Yeah,
And
you always find something new.
Mm.
Or because, I think I had that many ideas in the beginning, but I didn't develop them because I didn't know Czech that well. And now that I know Czech better, I can just go back to the archive because I write all my ideas on my phone. So I have a huge list, I don't know how long it is, with all the ideas that I had. And sometimes I took some older one and I tried to develop it. So, yeah.
And I think it was yesterday or the day before in your Instagram stories, you were mentioning you were drinking, and then at a table next to you, there's a guy like watching your video or something.
Yeah, yes, it was yesterday. I was at Palladium Shopping Center, and I was just minding my own business. I usually have earphones, but I just removed them because I was like, okay, I'm gonna enter the shop soon, so I will just remove it. And I just walked just around just to go to the other escalator, and there was a guy sitting, listening to the video very loud, and I was like, people, like why do they listen to video really
Again,
like
yeah.
loud? And I listen like the voice. I'm like, that voice is familiar to me. And then I just slowed a little bit, when I was, because I heard it, I was really passing, so I just slow a little bit. And then I heard how I just say one phrase from this new video that I published, and I was like, oh my god, that's me. So weird. It was very weird, very weird. It never had this to this date. It never happened that someone, would just that I would experience myself in someone else's phone. It was very weird. I don't know.
That's very. Because I think I read in some of your interviews that your audience basically is like as much Czech as much foreigners. Like Czech also enjoy your
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah, I would say that 60% are Czechs, and the rest is just everyone else.
Okay.
So it's very mixed.
How many wigs do you have? Because like I always see you like with all of those wigs, and like how many do you own? Where do you buy them? Like, does that make such a difference for your video?
I mean, I think the wigs help me grow up very fast. Because before I just maybe used to wear, I don't know, just like some piece of cloth or something, on my head. But the we just take it to a different level. I remember buying these 2 weeks, one blonde and one brown hair. So I started to use the blonde one because I just felt it suited more the person I wanted to be, the persona, let's say, yeah. And now I ended up having 8 wigs for every different character. But I usually use always the same ones. It's good to have more just in case, but I usually use just two of them.
Okay.
So
And they're only for like your videos. You never go like to a costume party with it or something. They're strictly work
I
related.
mean, once I used the blonde one for a party in Berlin because my cousin lives there, and it was a party where we had to dress like famous people, but in the opposite sex. So men were women and women were men, and I so decided to dress up as Raffaella Carrà, which was this famous Italian singer. Maybe some people knows it from Pedro, Pedro, Pedro.
Ah,
Okay,
okay, yeah.
so she
Thank you.
and she had this blonde casket and black dress, and so that's how I went around Berlin for the rest of the night with the 20 centimeters heels,
Well, and you
a wig,
survived.
and makeup.
Nice.
So yeah, I think that was the only time. But it's Berlin, so I wasn't that afraid.
Nice.
Yeah, okay.
Um, but this is not your full-time job, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just for fun.
And just for fun, yeah. I mean, if would be the full-time job, then it would be amazing, but it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
It's just a hobby that I have and I like to do.
Um, and I saw on your social media recently that you got married.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, I think it was like a month ago or something.
Yeah,
Like,
what's already a month, yeah.
how was it? Like, was it like a typical Czech wedding, or?
No, I wouldn't say it was a typical Czech. I mean, it was a mix, we needed to make it the way that everyone would enjoy it from both Italian side and Czech side. Even though the Czechs were like 90% of them and the Italians only the 10%, but it doesn't matter because small families compared to big Czech families and friends. So it was very nice. We had it on this terrace of the hotel where I used to work with the sunset, view on Prague, on the Prague castle. It was
Nice.
very, very romantic, exactly how I expected to be my ideal wedding, probably. So it was perfect. They were my friends, my family. They came like for this occasion. They arrived on Thursday. Friday was the wedding. Saturday they still stayed, some of them, but some of them already left to go back home because it was really like quick and fast. So, but it was very, very nice, and we had Czech food, but we had
Italian coffee.
no, we had aperols.
Okay.
We had aperols, a series of aperols for everyone, and I think it started a bit as a small trend in my husband's family. Now everybody drinks aperol.
Nice.
So I'm trying to expand the Italian culture between Czechs, the aperitif, like they
Where's
don't have it.
where's the best aperol in Prague? Because it's actually hard to find a good one.
Ah, hmm. I think I don't have a favorite place. Like if I like place where I like to drink, then it's Naplavka. They make a good aperol there.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so you're like married now in Czech Republic.
Not yet, but
Oh, okay.
officially not yet, because the bureaucracy is very complicated. I needed a lot of papers from Italy. Then they were not in Czech, so they need to be translated to Czech, because we're in Czech Republic.
So will you get the same name with like the OV at the end, or?
No, that's only for women, luckily.
Oh,
So-
okay.
And
Nice.
Ova is just for women. But exactly, we wanted to have the surnames together.
Uh-huh.
The problem is that I have already two surnames, as Spanish speaking countries usually have two last names. And so the problem was that we wanted to have like my first last name and his first last name, but I cannot have it because I have two last names, so you cannot add a third one.
Yeah, that would be maybe too much.
Yeah, so like by law you can have in Czech Republic only two last names, not more.
But
So
what I mean with Ovi is like when you talk about the couple's name, like, oh, I'm going to Ben Simon Ovi.
Ovi,
Or
okay,
like,
yeah, like that. Yeah, but that's the point because we don't have it in common, the surname, so we cannot have it like that.
okay.
Yeah, okay. Now I get it what you meant.
Well, that's
Sorry.
okay.
Like Simpson Novi, yeah, I get it what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know any other foreigners in Prague that's like more integrated than you? Because like you seem like you reached peak integration.
Uh, I mean, I have a Slovak friend, but I don't think if you can count him so much
No,
because
I don't think it
yeah,
counts.
'cause
We love Slovaks, but yeah, it
we
doesn't
love
count.
Slovaks definitely, but you cannot count. I don't know. It's just too much connected to Czech history. So I don't know. I probably not. I'm not sure because I know a lot of people, but somehow the ones which are very more integrated than me, then somehow they are usually always from some Slavic country,
Okay.
which makes it easier for them to get integrated. But I mean, probably no.
No, not yet. So okay, so the challenge is open for someone
So
to.
I think there are people who can be more integrated. Not that I know, but I think there are people who are more integrated than me.
All right. If you had, if you were ever to leave Prague, if it happens, what would you do for your last day in Prague?
Hmm. Well, definitely I would wake up very early and like very early, like I don't
Enjoy.
know, like 7 in the morning at sunrise, and I would start um uh, next to the powder tower, and I would start to walk through the center and walk till up to the castle, passing through the historic center, just by my own because in that time there's literally no one. And so I would just pass up there, and I would just go up to the uppermost point of the castle, and I would just look towards the city. Probably I would eat probably my last svíčková, even though then I would regret it. Then maybe it was better to take a Rizek because I know I'm always doing that. I would definitely drink a beer, even though I'm not a beer type.
And that's the unexpected end of the podcast. I'm really, really sorry. We were very unlucky with this episode. We had to record it twice, and this is the second try. And I'm still missing the end of the episode. But Raymi had time to make a wish, and I really hope the wish comes true for him. And thank you for listening until here. And I hope to see you next month for our next guest. Bye.
If you enjoy the podcast, please share, subscribe, let us know in the comments if you have any other topics or ideas of guests. So yeah, see you around for the next episode in a month.